My name is Maya Thompson and I'm 32 years old. At exactly 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, my parents dropped my grandmother on my doorstep like she was unwanted furniture, her suitcase barely held together with duct tape, tears streaming down her weathered brown face. They didn't knock. They didn't call. They just left her there and drove away in my father's new Mercedes. I opened the door to find Grandma Dorothy sitting on her suitcase, shaking. "Baby girl," she whispered. "They said I had nowhere else to go." My hands trembled as I helped her inside my small apartment. The same apartment I'd been renting for 8 years while working double shifts as an ER nurse. The same apartment my sister Vanessa mocked every Thanksgiving, laughing about how I still hadn't made it like she had. "Where are Mama and Daddy?" I asked, already knowing the answer would shatter something inside me. Grandma's voice cracked. "They're selling my house, Maya. The house your granddaddy built with his own hands. They said they need the money for Vanessa's wedding venue upgrade." Her fingers clutched mine. "They told me I'd be a burden anywhere else, but you always had the biggest heart." The rage built slowly, like steam in a pressure cooker. My parents hadn't even asked me. Vanessa was getting married for the 3rd time, and they were sacrificing Grandma's home for crystal chandeliers and ice sculptures. I looked at Grandma Dorothy's face, saw 50 years of sacrifice written in every line, and made a decision that would change everything. "You're staying here, Grandma. And we're going to fix this." Vanessa had always been the golden child. While I studied through nursing school, taking out loans and eating ramen, she floated through a communications degree Daddy paid for in full. While I worked overnight shifts, she posted Instagram photos from Cabo and Dubai, funded by emergency checks from our parents. "You're so responsible, Maya," Mama would say, making responsibility sound like a character flaw. "Vanessa needs more support. She's still finding herself." Vanessa was 35. She'd been finding herself for over a decade. The phone finally rang at 8 p.m. Mama's voice was defensive before I even spoke. "Maya, we knew you'd understand. You're always so practical about things." "Practical? You dumped Grandma on my doorstep without even calling me first." "Don't be dramatic. We knew you'd take her in. You have that extra bedroom you never use." She said it like I was hoarding space, not living within my means. Besides, the house sold fast. The buyers want to close in 30 days. Vanessa's wedding is in 6 weeks, and the venue needs a deposit. What about Grandma's things? Her furniture? Her memories? Mama sighed like I was a child asking stupid questions. "We're putting it in storage. Most of it's old anyway. Vanessa might want some pieces for her new house." "Not Grandma. Not me. Vanessa. Does Vanessa even know you're doing this?" "It was her idea, baby. She said Grandma would be better off with you since you're always home anyway." The casual cruelty took my breath away. I hung up without saying goodbye. Grandma sat on my couch, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. "I heard," she said quietly. "I'm so sorry, Grandma." "Don't be sorry, baby. Be smart. There's something I need to tell you." Grandma reached into her worn purse and pulled out a faded showbox tied with string. Her hand shook as she placed it on my coffee table. "I need you to hide this somewhere safe, Maya. Somewhere they'll never think to look." "What is it?" "The truth." Her dark eyes met mine, suddenly fierce despite her fragility. "Your granddaddy didn't just build that house with his hands. He bought the land in 1968, back when black folks could barely get approved for anything. Paid cash. 30 years later, we paid off every penny of that mortgage. That house is mine, free and clear. The deed's in my name only." My heart hammered. "Does Daddy know?" "He knows. But when your granddaddy died 10 years ago, your daddy convinced me to add his name to the deed. Said it would make things easier when I passed, avoid probate, all that legal talk. I was grieving and tired, so I signed." She grabbed my hand. "But I never took my name off, Maya. We're both on that deed. He can't sell without my signature." "Did you sign papers?" Her face hardened. 3 days ago, he brought papers to the house. Told me I was signing over power of attorney for medical decisions. I was in pain from my arthritis, couldn't see well without my glasses. He watched me sign, then rushed me out the door. She opened the showbox. But I'm not senile. I called my lawyer friend Pastor Richardson that same night. Inside the box were documents, letters, and photographs. But on top, in a sealed envelope, was something that made my breath catch. "What's this, Grandma?" A copy of what I actually signed. Pastor Richardson helped me get it from the county recorder's office. And baby, her smile was sharp, "It's not what your daddy thinks." That night, Grandma couldn't sleep. I found her at 2 a.m. looking through old photographs, her reading glasses perched on her nose. "Come sit, baby. Let me tell you about the house your grandfather built." She handed me a black and white photo of a young couple standing in front of an empty lot. "That's us in 1968. I was 23, pregnant with your daddy. Your granddaddy Malcolm was 25, working 3 jobs. A janitor at the hospital, weekend construction, and Friday nights playing saxophone at the jazz club." Her voice carried decades of memory. "White folks didn't want us in that neighborhood. The realtor tried to charge us triple. But Malcolm saved every penny for 5 years. We paid cash for that land, and he built that house board by board. I was 9 months pregnant, handing him nails and water. Your daddy was born in that house. First black baby born on that street." She wiped her eyes. "Malcolm died in that house too. Heart attack in the garden he'd tended for 40 years. Your daddy cried on my shoulder and promised he'd never let anyone take it from me." "What changed him, Grandma?" "Vanessa." The word carried no malice, just sadness. "When she was born, your daddy saw himself in her. That charm, that way of getting what she wanted. He started giving and never stopped. By the time you came along, gentle and responsible, he figured you'd be fine on your own. I thought of all the times I'd called home excited about my achievements. Graduating nursing school with honors. Getting promoted to charge nurse. Buying my first car with my own money. Every time, the conversation shifted to Vanessa's latest crisis or adventure within minutes. You deserved better, Maya. So did you, Grandma. She squeezed my hand. That's why I'm fighting. Vanessa showed up 3 days later without calling, letting herself in with the emergency key I'd given her years ago. She looked perfect as always, designer athleisure, fresh highlights, nails done. I was in my scrubs, exhausted from a 12-hour shift. Oh my God, Maya, this place smells like old person now, she announced, wrinkling her nose. Grandma was napping in the bedroom. Hello to you too, Vanessa. Don't be sensitive. I'm just saying. She dropped her Louis Vuitton bag on my kitchen counter. So, Mama told me you were weird about the grandma situation. I don't get why you're being dramatic. Dramatic? They abandoned her on my doorstep. Vanessa rolled her eyes. They brought her to family. You act like they dumped her at a shelter. Besides, you're always going on about how much you love her. Now you get her full time. You're welcome. The audacity stole my words. This was your idea. The wedding venue I want has a cancellation for next month, but it's $60,000 for the upgraded package. The house money covers it perfectly. She said it like she was explaining basic math to a child. Grandma's old, Maya. She doesn't need all that space. And honestly, you could use the company. You're always alone. I'm alone because I'm working to pay my bills. Some of us don't have parents funding our lifestyle. That's not my fault you chose a career that doesn't pay well. She examined her nails. Anyway, I came to see what furniture Grandma has that I want. Marcus and I are buying a house, and her antique pieces would look amazing in our dining room. Marcus. What happened to Stephen? We broke up. Marcus is better. He's an investment banker. She said it like his job title was a personality trait. So when can I go through Grandma's stuff? I stared at my sister, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. The next Sunday, my parents demanded a family meeting at their house. Grandma insisted on coming, though she could barely walk without her cane. Vanessa was already there, lounging on the couch like a queen holding court. Daddy sat in his leather recliner, the one Grandma had bought him 10 Christmases ago. "Maya, your attitude this week has been disrespectful. We made a practical decision as a family. Nobody asked me. Nobody asked Grandma. We're your parents. We don't need permission." Mama's voice was ice. "Dorothy is family. Family takes care of each other. Then why am I the only one taking care of her?" Vanessa laughed. Actually laughed. "Because you don't have a life, Maya. I'm planning a wedding. Mama and Daddy are finally enjoying their retirement. You work and go home. This is perfect for you." Something inside me snapped. "You know what? You're right. I'll take care of Grandma. But I want to see the sale papers. I want to understand the timeline and finances." Daddy's jaw tightened. "That's not your concern. She's living in my home. It's my concern." He stood, using his height to intimidate like he did when I was young. "The house closes in 3 weeks. The money goes into our account. We'll decide how it's distributed. End of discussion." "What about Grandma's share?" "Her share." Vanessa's voice dripped condescension. "Mama and Daddy have been maintaining that house for years. Grandma can't even climb the stairs anymore. She's lucky they didn't charge her rent." Grandma's voice cut through the room like a blade. "I own that house." Everyone froze. Daddy recovered first, his tone patronizing. "Mama, we've been over this. You signed." "I know what I signed, boy." Grandma stood, leaning on her cane. "And I know what you think I signed. They're not the same thing." The room exploded. Daddy's face went purple. "What the hell does that mean?" Grandma reached into her purse and pulled out a document. Her hand didn't shake now. "This is what I actually signed 3 days before you abandoned me. It's not a power of attorney. It's not a deed transfer." She handed it to me. "Read it, Maya." My voice wavered as I read aloud. "I, Dorothy Mae Thompson, being of sound mind and body, hereby revoke any previous verbal or written agreements regarding the property located at..." I stopped. "Grandma, this is a formal revocation of the deed amendment. You took your name off the joint ownership." Keep reading. "Furthermore, as sole owner of said property, I declare that any sale, transfer, or encumbrance requires my explicit written consent, witnessed and notarized. Any signatures obtained through misrepresentation or coercion are null and void." The silence was deafening. Vanessa found her voice first. "That's not legal. You can't just..." "It's already filed with the county recorder's office. Time-stamped 3 hours after I signed your daddy's fake papers." Grandma's smile was cold. "Pastor Richardson's daughter is a real estate attorney. She made sure everything was airtight." Daddy lunged forward. I'd never seen him look so ugly. "You senile old woman. I have buyers. Contracts. That wedding deposit is non-refundable." Then I guess Vanessa better start planning a cheaper wedding. Mama was crying, mascara running down her face. "How could you do this to your son? To your granddaughter? We're family." Family doesn't forge signatures. Family doesn't dump their elderly mother on a doorstep. Grandma turned to me. "Get my things, Maya. We're leaving." Vanessa blocked the door. "You're not going anywhere until we figure this out. That money is mine." "The money was never yours." I stepped between them. "Move, Vanessa. Or what? You'll fight me. You've never had the spine." I smiled, and it felt dangerous. "Try me." Pastor Richardson's daughter, attorney Nicole Richardson, was a force of nature. At 45, she had an office downtown with her name in gold letters and a reputation for protecting black families from predatory practices. She sat across from us in her conference room, reviewing documents while we waited. Grandma sipped tea, calmer than I'd seen her in weeks. Finally, Nicole looked up, her expression serious. "Mrs. Thompson, your instincts were correct. The papers your son brought you were disguised as a medical power of attorney, but buried in page 17, clause 43, was a property transfer agreement. If you'd signed without reading. He rushed me, kept checking his watch, said he had dinner reservations. Nicole's jaw clenched. Classic pressure tactic. However, your revocation document is ironclad. The property is yours alone now. Your son can't sell it, refinance it, or use it as collateral. She slid another paper across the table. But there's something else you should know. I pulled the sale contract he signed with the buyers. My stomach dropped. He already signed. 3 weeks ago. Before he even brought you the papers. Nicole's voice hardened. He told the buyers he had full authority to sell. He forged your signature on the initial contract, Mrs. Thompson. That's fraud. Criminal fraud. Grandma closed her eyes. My son is a criminal. Your son is desperate. The sale price was $475,000. He already spent $60,000 on Vanessa's wedding deposit and bought himself that new Mercedes you mentioned. He's in debt for the rest, expecting the closing to bail him out. What happens now? I asked. Nicole leaned forward. Now. We let him panic. The closing is in 12 days. When the buyers discover the sale is invalid, they'll sue him for their earnest money and damages. Minimum $200,000. She paused. Or, Mrs. Thompson, you could offer him a choice. What kind of choice? The kind that teaches a lesson. 5 days later, Daddy called me 14 times before I answered. His voice was frantic. Maya, I need to talk to Mama. She's not answering her phone. She's screening your calls. Can't imagine why. This isn't a game. The buyers are threatening to sue me. Their attorney sent a letter. I need Mama to sign the real papers. We can fix this. I'll give her 20% of the sale. 20% of the house she owns. How generous. His tone shifted, became wheedling. Maya, sweetheart, I know I messed up. I was under pressure. Vanessa was crying every day about the wedding, and your Mama wanted me to help her. I just wanted to make everyone happy. Everyone except Grandma. And me. You've always been the strong one. The responsible one. I knew you'd understand eventually. The manipulation was so familiar it almost worked. Almost. Please, baby girl. Just let me talk to Mama. We're family. Family forgives. I let the silence stretch until he was nearly begging. Fine. Come to my apartment tomorrow at 6 p.m. Grandma will see you. But Daddy. She wants everyone there.
Mama. Vanessa. Marcus.
Everyone who benefited from trying to steal her house. We didn't steal. 6 p.m. Don't be late. After I hung up, Grandma looked at me with pride. You sounded just like your grandfather then. Strong. Clear. She squeezed my hand. You ready for this, baby? I thought about all the years of being overlooked, underestimated, treated like the dependable workhorse while Vanessa got the glory. I thought about Grandma sitting on that doorstep, crying and abandoned. I've been ready my whole life, Grandma. Nicole arrived at 5:30 p.m. to prepare. Remember, let him talk first. Let him show exactly who he is before we show our cards. And if he gets violent. She patted her briefcase. I have courthouse security on speed dial. And your neighbor said she'll keep her door open, just in case. Mrs. Patterson next door was 70 and had taken a liking to Grandma. That man show up here causing trouble. I got my phone and my Louisville Slugger ready, she'd said. At exactly 6 p.m., my doorbell rang. They arrived together, a united front. Daddy in his expensive suit, Mama in pearls, Vanessa in designer everything, and Marcus looking uncomfortable in a blazer. I let them in without a word. My small living room felt suffocating with all of them in it. Grandma sat in my armchair like a queen on a throne, Nicole standing beside her with a leather portfolio. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Daddy started with his rehearsed apology. Mama, I owe you an apology. I got caught up in the excitement of helping Vanessa, and I didn't think about your feelings. I should have discussed the sale with you properly. Discussed? You forged my signature. His smile faltered. That's a strong word. I was acting on what I thought was our agreement. There was no agreement. Grandma's voice cracked like thunder. You brought me fake papers and watched me sign away my home. Mama stepped forward, tears ready. Dorothy, you have to understand. We're drowning in debt. We refinanced our house to pay for Vanessa's first 2 weddings. We have credit cards, car payments. When Vanessa told us about this venue, we panicked. Your house was our only option. So you were going to make me homeless to fund a party? Vanessa finally spoke, her voice sharp. You weren't going to be homeless. You'd be here with Maya. God, you're being so selfish. This is my special day. Your 3rd special day, I interjected quietly. Her head whipped toward me. Stay out of this. This is between Grandma and people who actually matter. The words hung in the air like poison. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Vanessa, maybe we should. Maybe you should shut up. She turned back to Grandma. Sign the papers. Save this family from embarrassment. Be a team player for once in your life. Nicole cleared her throat. Actually, Mrs. Thompson can't sign the papers. She no longer has joint ownership. She's the sole owner, which means she can still sell. Daddy interrupted desperately. Mama, please. The buyers are threatening to sue me for $200,000. Grandma let him squirm in silence. Then she opened Nicole's portfolio and pulled out a stack of documents. You want to talk about being family? Let me tell you about family, boy. She threw the first paper on my coffee table. This is the original deed. 1968. Your daddy and I bought that land with money we saved working jobs that broke our backs. We raised you in that house. Fed you. Clothed you. Sent you to college debt-free because we sacrificed our own dreams. The second paper landed on top of the first. This is the mortgage we paid off in 1998. Every single payment, on time, for 30 years. While your daddy was dying of cancer, I was cleaning houses to make sure we didn't lose our home. The third paper made Daddy's face go white. This is the loan you took out against the house in 2015.
$62,000.
You told me it was for home repairs. But this bank statement shows you gave it all to Vanessa for her boutique that failed in 6 months. Vanessa jumped up. That business failed because you spent the money on inventory you never sold and a storefront you couldn't afford. Grandma's voice was steel. I found the receipts when I was packing. $20,000 on designer handbags you were going to resell. $15,000 on a business trip to Paris. The rest on your apartment deposit. Mama's tears were real now. Dorothy, we were trying to help her succeed. By stealing from me. Grandma stood, using her cane. I'm 82 years old. I survived Jim Crow, buried the love of my life, and raised a son I thought I could trust. And you repaid me by treating me like garbage you could throw away when I became inconvenient. Daddy's mask cracked. What do you want, Mama? Money. You want us to grovel? Fine. I'm sorry. I'll get on my knees if that's what you need. I want you to face consequences. Grandma nodded to Nicole. Nicole pulled out the final document. Mr. Thompson, you have 2 choices. Choice 1. Your mother presses criminal charges for fraud and forgery. You'll face felony charges, jail time, and the buyers will still sue you for damages. His face went grey. Or you sign this agreement. Nicole laid out the agreement like a death sentence. Option 2. You sign over any claim to the property permanently. You publicly apologize to your mother in front of your church congregation. You pay back the $60,000 you stole in 2015, with interest, in monthly installments over 10 years. And, she paused for emphasis, you and your wife pay Maya $500 a month for caring for Mrs. Thompson, starting immediately and continuing as long as she lives with Maya. Daddy looked like he might vomit. I can't afford that. We're already in debt. Then sell your Mercedes. Downsize your house. Get a job, Marcus Thompson, because for the first time in your life, you're going to work for what you have instead of stealing from your mother. Vanessa exploded. This is insane. We're not signing anything. We'll contest this in court. You'll lose. Nicole's smile was razor-sharp. I've already filed the revocation with 3 separate agencies. The paper trail is immaculate. In court, a judge will see an elderly black woman whose son tried to defraud her out of her home to fund his daughter's luxury lifestyle. How do you think that plays? Marcus was reading the agreement, his face getting paler. Vanessa, this is ironclad. If we fight this, your father could go to prison. I don't care. She's ruining my wedding. The words echoed in the sudden silence. Even Mama looked shocked. Daddy's face crumbled as he stared at his golden child, seeing her clearly maybe for the first time. You don't care if I go to prison? His voice was barely a whisper. Vanessa backtracked, but it was too late. Daddy, I didn't mean, I just meant. You meant exactly what you said. Grandma's voice was sad now, not angry. That's what we created, Marcus. A child who values a party more than her father's freedom. We did this. I watched my family disintegrate in real time. Mama was sobbing. Daddy looked broken. Marcus was edging toward the door. And Vanessa. She was still calculating, still looking for an angle. If we sign, what happens to the house? Daddy asked finally. Grandma looked at me, her eyes soft. Tell them, baby. My voice was steady. Grandma's moving back home. I'm moving in with her. The signing took 15 minutes. Daddy's hand shook so badly he could barely write his name. Mama cried through the whole thing. Vanessa refused to watch, sitting in the corner on her phone, probably texting her wedding planner about the downgrade. When it was done, Nicole collected the documents. Mrs. Thompson will have copies filed with her attorney, the county recorder, and in a safety deposit box. Break this agreement, and criminal charges get filed automatically. As they stood to leave, Daddy looked at Grandma one more time. I really am sorry, Mama. I know you are, son. But sorry doesn't rebuild trust. Actions do. She held his gaze. You have 10 years to show me who you really are. After they left, the apartment felt different. Lighter somehow. Nicole packed up her briefcase. Mrs. Thompson, Maya, you did the right thing. He'll be angry for a while, but eventually, he might even thank you for stopping him before he went to prison. After Nicole left, Grandma and I sat in silence. Finally, she spoke. Your grandfather would be so proud of you, baby. The way you stood up for me, for what was right. I learned from the best. Your mama called me selfish tonight. Grandma's voice was thoughtful. Maybe I am. But I'm alive because of you. You didn't have to take me in. You didn't have to fight for me. Yes, I did. I held her hand. Because you're the only one who ever fought for me. 2 weeks later, we moved into Grandma's house together. My little apartment sat empty, but I kept it. Just in case, I told myself. But really, I knew I was home. The house was exactly as I remembered from childhood visits. High ceilings, hardwood floors Granddaddy installed himself, the garden Grandma still tended. My bedroom was upstairs, with windows overlooking the street where 3 generations had played. That first night, I found Grandma in Granddaddy's study, looking at old photos. He built this house for family, she said. Real family. The kind that shows up when you need them, not when it's convenient. I'll always show up, Grandma. I know, baby. That's why you get the house when I'm gone. I started to protest, but she raised her hand. It's already in my will. Nicole made sure. This house passes to you. Not your daddy. Not Vanessa. You. 6 months later, I was working in Grandma's garden when a car pulled up. Vanessa stepped out, designer sunglasses hiding her eyes. She looked thinner, tired. Can we talk? Her voice lacked its usual confidence. I kept pulling weeds. About what? About how I was horrible to you. To Grandma. She sat on the porch steps, uninvited. The wedding was nice. Small. We did it at the courthouse. Daddy couldn't afford to walk me down any aisle, and Mama was too embarrassed to invite people. I heard. Marcus left me last month. Said he couldn't handle the drama. She laughed bitterly. Turns out when you show someone who you really are, they believe you. I finally looked at her. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right. About all of it. I was selfish. Spoiled. I thought the world owed me everything, and I never appreciated what I had. Her voice cracked. I lost my father's respect. My marriage. My relationship with Grandma. All for a wedding that didn't even last a year. What do you want from me, Vanessa? Forgiveness. Validation. I want to know how you did it. How you stayed kind when everyone treated you like you were invisible. How you stayed strong when we made you feel weak. I stood, brushing dirt from my hands. I didn't stay kind. I was angry for years. But I chose not to let that anger make me cruel. I chose to show up, do the work, and wait for the truth to matter. I met her eyes. And I learned that silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. Grandma appeared in the doorway, her cane tapping softly. Vanessa.
Grandma.
Vanessa's voice was small, childlike. You've lost weight. You eating properly. Just like that, the bridge wasn't completely burned. Not yet. Maybe not ever. As Vanessa left an hour later, Grandma and I watched from the porch. You think she'll really change? I asked. I think she'll try. Whether she succeeds is up to her. Grandma squeezed my hand. But you, baby girl? You already changed the world. You saved an old woman's home. You stood up to bullies. You reminded this family what sacrifice really means. I looked at the house Granddaddy built, now mine to protect, and felt the weight of that responsibility. But also the joy of it. This home was built on sacrifice, not lies, I said quietly. And I'll spend my life honoring that. Grandma smiled, that fierce pride lighting her face. Your grandfather used to say, silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you're listening, learning, and getting ready to speak when your words will matter most. She was right. I'd been silent for 32 years, watching, learning, understanding who people really were beneath their masks. And when the moment came to speak, my words changed everything. That's the thing about underdogs. We're underestimated right up until the moment we win. And by then, it's too late for everyone who doubted us. If someone is treating you like you're invisible, remember, they're not seeing the whole story. Keep building your foundation in silence. Your moment will come. And when it does, make sure you're ready to speak your truth with receipts in hand. The house still stands. The garden still grows. And I still show up, every single day, for the woman who taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about who stays when staying is hard. That's a lesson worth inheriting.